Hello,
Woo!
Trekkies! Welcome back to TreknoPod. I will be your host tonight. My name is Linda Pages, and I'm joined by my two wonderful co-hosts. Let's start off with Shaf. You might recognize him from his Star Trek Lego building on TikTok. Shaf, how you doing?
Or you might recognize me from the AI slop that's out there on TikTok as well. But yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. All right, and next up we have the king of comic book content, Vector.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. I'm doing excellent because there's a brand new Marvel Comics TV show called Wonder Man that just came out today. As people are listening to this and watching this, Wonder Man is out into the world. All 8 episodes are out, and someone has already watched all 8 episodes, if you can believe it.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. But let's talk some Trek.
Let's talk some Trek. All right, so if you've been following us, you know that we were reviewing Star Trek Enterprise, but when Starfleet Academy came out, we were so excited about it that we just had to switch over and start talking about that. So today we are talking about, drumroll please, 3rd episode. We get an actual drum.
I'm not prepared. I wasn't prepared. Oh, whoops, wrong one.
Thank you.
This one.
Vitus Reflux.
Yay!
By the way, we were just having this discussion. Let us know if you would say this Vitus Reflux or Vitus Reflux. I would say Vitus, but Nala Ake, played by Holly Hunter, of course, in the episode said Vitus, hence us saying Vitus Reflux. Okay, let's go ahead and start with a question here. What was your favorite high school or college class that you took? So if you want to start us off?
No, I'm just kidding. Kind of a prerequisite there. No, my favorite class was probably a science class. It definitely wasn't a math class. I hated all possible math classes, but I would say probably earth science, I think, was my favorite class. That or you probably can tell this by looking at me. I was a yearbook kid. I was on the yearbook staff. For 3 out of the 4 years of high school. In fact, my senior year, I was the editor-in-chief of my yearbook, and I look like it. But yeah, I had a great time with that too. I enjoyed the design aspect of designing a yearbook, and it forced me out of my shell. I was very shy, so it forced me to interview people. I had a really good rapport with my photojournalism staff, and I'm going to do a quick name drop. Okay, I kind of feel like I have to.
Okay.
And then we can move on to somebody else. But on my photojournalism staff for my senior year when I was editor in chief, one of the I almost said photographers. One of the photographers.
The photographers.
One of the photographers was none other than Garrett Hedlund, who you may know from Tron Legacy, as well as plenty of other movies. He was in Troy. I think that was his first big movie. But yeah, Garrett Hedlund is a big time a Hollywood actor these days. But
nice.
Way back in the day, he was a lowly photographer, a photographer on my.
A photographer, of course. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So.
All right, Vector.
That's.
What about you? What's your favorite high school or college class you took?
High school, I actually attended on an Air Force base in Japan, and there my favorite class was Japanese. But when I got to college, I decided to study something else. And I have to quote one of my all-time greatest influences and heroes, Doc Brown. The time traveling is just too dangerous. Better that I devote myself to study the other great mystery of the universe, women. So my women's studies class when I went to Arizona State University was my favorite class. We actually did, the class was called Sex and the City, and we would devote it to all kinds of television and movies. Every week we were watching a new film or a new TV show, and it was fantastic. I turned to my left, I turned to my right, 99% women in that class, and they were all beautiful. It was a wonderful sight to behold, and I learned a lot in that class.
Did you, with the ratio of men to women in that class and the fact that you were there, did that improve your chances of dates? Like that year, were you out every weekend? What was happening?
The answer, Shoff, is no, because when I was in college, I was not very social. I stuck to my own.
I'm so sorry. The inflection, the timing, the presentation couldn't have been any better. The answer, Shoff, is no. No, it's not.
Yes, I kind of stuck to myself and played video games and listened to podcasts by myself. I did not socialize very much. So had
But
I
the
been,
class, yeah, the class prepared you for being a loving husband.
yes,
Yeah.
if I had been a social fly, if I had been a butterfly and I'd been able to spread my wings, I probably would have been able to make some connections, but I did not.
That's okay.
But it was fun.
That's
It was a
okay.
great class.
Nice. I think my favorite class I took in high school might have been psychology. I took IB Psych, either IB Psych or IB English, my junior and senior year. Those are both 2-year courses, and I really, really loved both of those a lot. I can tell you it was not physics or math, and I am now a physics major with a math minor, so, you know, a lot can change.
Nice.
I think my favorite class I've taken in college so far, I took an astronomy class my first semester of my freshman year, and I loved it, obviously. So that's high up on the list. Or I really loved Physics 3, which I took last semester because it's really modern physics. We just call it Physics 3. But that was a little bit of quantum. It was like baby quantum, optics. I didn't like waves. That was the first thing we did, so I thought I wasn't going to like the class. But aside from waves, everything else we did, optics and photonics, quantum, relativity was the other thing we did in that class. I loved all three of those things. It definitely felt like the sci-fi class. I felt like I was at Starfleet Academy talking about, like, you know, photonics, relativity.
Nice.
Yeah, I think some of the classes I'm taking this semester might rank pretty high up on that list, but I haven't been in them long enough to.
That's awesome.
But yes.
You know, listening to you guys talk about your college stuff, I realized I didn't even mention college. All I said was high school. Can I add my college stuff?
No,
in
your time is up actually. So you've met your quota on
You're
words
done,
for
Shaw.
the segment.
All right,
so
fine. Our listeners
I
will
gave you
just
a
have
chance.
to wonder.
I'm kidding.
No.
What was your favorite college class?
I didn't go to college. No, I'm just kidding.
I
He
would
got
have been so mad if you trapped me into that. Like, if you
I know, right?
asked that, just to tell me that.
But guys, wait! Don't you want to hear about it? I didn't go. No, I went. I went to ASU. I went to the party school of all party schools. No, I first went to community college, and while I was at community college, to get the prereqs out of the way, I did astronomy, and that was honestly amazing because they had a partnership with an observatory in California, and I forget exactly what the name of it was.
ASU has some of the best astro connections.
Yeah. But like, we would get on the phone with that observatory and we would put in the correct coordinates, and they would line up the telescope. They had a huge reflective telescope, and they would line it up. You give them the declination and what is it? The radial. Yeah. I'm so far removed from it now, so I forget. But then they would take pictures of whatever you had wanted them to point at, and you could tell them what kind of exposure level you wanted, so you could get pictures of like nebula, star clusters, crazy cool like cosmic phenomena. And I just remembered loving that class. And then at ASU was terrible. Now, I was a journalism major, and I did have a lot of fun in my journalism classes, but my favorite class, my major ended up being 2 minors. It was mass communication and theater, and I was able to sort of whittle in cinema into that. And so there was a contemporary cinema class that I took that I absolutely loved, because it was watching movies every week and critiquing them, and I'm like, that I would do that anyways, so that was a lot of fun.
So I took, on the topic, both of you chose a class where you were watching or reacting to media in the class. My favorite kinds of classes are discussion-based courses, and unfortunately I don't get a lot of that in my major for math or for physics, but those are my favorite. And there's a couple of maybe advanced math classes that I'll take that are like that, but point being, I took an English class. I was going to double major with English. I took an English class my freshman year, and it was actually, I took 2, but one of them was like culture and media of the 90s. So every week we were like either watching Friends or Seinfeld or just all these different like cultural. We read a little bit too, but I really like that a lot. And then the class I took the next semester was dystopias. So that was also really, really cool. Yeah.
And that was like
really
ancient history for you, the 90s, because I remember you saying that 9/11 was not something that you recalled. So the 90s must have been like World War II for me and Shaw. It must have been way back in history.
It's kind of weird because it has so, like, I feel like the 90s culture media still has so much cultural significance today.
Yes. Were you surprised that Friends was in color? and not
No.
in black and white?
I think you guys like I grew up watching.
Whoa!
Anything.
Oh my god!
I didn't watch anything but Star Trek: The Original Series from the ages of 6 to 12. It was TOS and Liv and Maddie. This is a true story. The Disney
What's
Channel
Liv
show.
and Maddie?
It's a Disney Channel show with Dove Cameron. She was my first crush. She just got engaged. You know, it hurt. Really hit.
Off the market.
Yeah. So point being that I was never, it was never an issue for me that it was like too old to watch. Like I never, like my dad and I watched Leave It to Beaver.
Whoa.
Lassie.
Dang.
There's
Now,
another
those
one.
were in black and white.
Yeah, there were a couple other ones that we watched. I forget that were from that era. But yeah, that was never an issue.
Dang.
Okay.
Love it.
It all makes sense that we're on a podcast where we watch something every week and then talk about it. And these were some of our favorite classes that we took, was watching things and talking about it. Okay, before we get into anything, Vactor, you said something felt off to you last week, and you have now remembered. Would you like to share with the class?
I couldn't put my finger on it, was what I said last week. I said, man, there's something that didn't feel right to me. And as I was thinking about it, and then I had a chance to rewatch episodes 1 and 2 again, I think the thing that I'm not liking so far in this show, because Shaw asked me specifically, like, what are you not liking? It's the lack of utopia. In my eyes, Star Trek was always about the utopian future and no need for money. You know, like we've evolved beyond that. This is what humanity can become. Like this is the best of the best. And especially, I think TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, like that group is what I think of as, okay, this is what I want Star Trek to be in my mind. And the first 2 episodes have a little bit of a mean spirit to them. And that's mainly Caleb and Fishboy, like flipping the bird at each other. And I told Shaw there were more birds flipped in these minutes per capita than any other.
On that note, real quick, this is, my signature move, live long and prosper. When we'll get on to all this in a second. When the War College first pranked the Starfleet Academy cadets by transporting them from the locker room to random places, one of the War College cadets went,
"Whoa!"
And I went, "That's my thing. I was super excited that she did that.
Yes, that is full on Starfleet Academy energy, because I feel like that is the vibe. And I know they're supposed to be adolescents, like this is supposed to be the hormones are raging and like puberty's going and all this stuff, but I just feel like I don't want to be mean. I don't want to see people being mean to each other. And I feel like the holographic cadet, who I still haven't locked in her name yet. Sam, that's what I feel like. Like I feel like I'm in the academy and I'm like, hey, can't we all just get along, guys? Like here's a flashlight. That's what I feel like. And the pranks and the mean-spiritedness, that to me doesn't feel good. And so I think that's what it was when I was watching the episodes last week, and I was like, man, something just doesn't feel right. And that's what it is. It's the friction that's happening in these first couple episodes.
I hear you. I do have a rebuttal. It's a 2-part rebuttal. The first is that we do hear other Star Trek characters talk about their days at the Academy, and a lot of the stories they tell are kind of similar to what's going on now. Like, they got into all this, like, it was their Academy days, right? They look back on it fondly, they talk about all the trouble they got into, all the things that they did, blah, 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 blah. So I feel like so far this is very reflective of that, except they didn't have the War College then. So this is definitely an added layer. Additionally, something that I got flamed on TikTok for saying, but I stand by, and I still think it holds true. I think that the connection that they're trying to draw is, I think there's a connection between the Starfleet Academy cadets living through the burn and losing some of that socialization or normal childhood, normal adolescence, and college-age people today losing some of that socialization and adolescence to COVID and to the pandemic. So Nala Ake says at one point in this episode, they grew up in the burn, they've never really gotten to be kids, let them be kids, let them have fun. I think this is definitely reflective of kind of the immaturity that comes with losing that socialization. It's like the first time you've been around a bunch of other people your age in a setting like this. I know that was definitely true for my generation. It was weird coming from high school where everything was kind of like half and half. like you like half people in class, half of the people were in class, half of the time online, virtual, spaced out, whatever. And we really only like went back to normal kind of maybe during my senior year of high school, to then getting thrown into college where it's like there were no more regulations anymore, no more restrictions. I mean, this semester they just took out some of the like COVID safety things that they'd had. So, like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't stuff like we didn't have any like COVID guidelines anymore, really, but just like, you know, the extra paper towel dispensers and the classrooms and just things like that were kind of like left over from that era. So I wasn't even here when COVID happened. I also think this was really, really, really apparent. I stage managed for lower school students and middle school students during COVID, like right after COVID. And it was so clear, even if it was only a couple of years or a year or two, how much that lack of socialization during that time really affected them. Like they did act like that. Like they were meaner. They were more like, they were just bolder because like they spend all their time on social media. So, because that's how they were talking to their friends and getting that socialization. So it was like, they didn't have a concept of how to speak to people in real life. And it wasn't their fault at all. Like it wasn't parenting failure. It was just like, they didn't have that socialization. They didn't have, you know, they didn't get their feelings hurt in person with their friends. Those like life experiences that should happen just hadn't. So it was very strange to watch and like and have that experience. So point being, I think this is reminiscent of that for sure. And I also I do think it's like we don't really have a rival school. I go to a small liberal arts school that's nearby a really, really large state school that's very, very popular. So we don't have a rivalry because there's not really much something to rival with. Like we don't really have like a competitive school like that. But my high school, we had a competitor in sports and just like academics. And I think if we were shared a campus like this, we definitely would have pranked each other. I think I pro prank if you know the other person's going to find it funny and you're not crossing any lines. Like it's not meant to be like overly embarrassing, or like I say overly embarrassing because I think like, there's probably
it better be a little bit embarrassing.
Well, I mean, I think there's an element of that, but like I would not be upset if like I live with two of my best friends in the whole world. Like if they pranked me and they filmed it and it was just the two of them, like obviously there's an element of being embarrassed when you like have a prank, but like I trust them enough, or if they're gonna prank me, it's gonna be something that's funny, that we're gonna laugh about, that I'm gonna be like, oh my god, can you send me that video? And it's not gonna be like they know I'm truly terrified of spiders to my core. Like I joke about it, but like I can't be around them. Like if they ever put a spider in my room or did anything like that, like I wouldn't be friends with them anymore, because like that's such a line for me, and they know how I feel about it. Like I know you guys are laughing, but I'm being dead serious. Like that's just no for me. But like I did prank someone one time. I had this friend last year, and she would come over and watch movies a lot. And at that time, I shared a room with Shia, one of the other roommate that I'm really close with, Emma and Shia. And my friend came over, and this was so elaborate. Like we'd been planning this for like days. We told this friend that Shia was out, like she had gone out with friends, and so Shia had actually posted pictures to her social media of her being out, like with friends that like she'd taken like the week before. So like it looked like she was currently out. This friend comes back with me, and I had like a lofted bed, like not like lofted, but like you had to like step up to get into it, like and step on my desk. So Shia hid underneath my bed, like behind like my boxes of stuff. And when my friend put her foot up on like my desk to get like into my bed, Shia reached out and grabbed her. And you would have thought like she didn't even move. She just like accepted her fate.
Yeah. Crypt Keeper is here. I'm going to the underworld, folks.
She goes, I figured it was just my time.
Hey.
So like that was funny because like I knew she'd find it funny. You know, we watched horror movies a lot together. She didn't like, she loved Halloween Horror Nights, something like that. So like I knew she would find it funny. I knew it wouldn't like hurt her feelings. I knew it wouldn't be. So I think it's totally fine to prank people. If you're close with them. If you're not friends with them, that's just bullying. That's just physical bullying. Like Carrie, not funny, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? Pranks, yay or nay?
I'm with Linda. I feel like because it's like if you take someone to a horror movie and they don't like horror movies, it's like it's not fun to see them scared. But if you know that they know what they're in for, if they know that, you know, if they're okay with being pranked, if they're in on it, then it's like, okay, yeah, you you know that they will enjoy themselves afterwards rather than being upset afterwards. So I'm with Linda.
I probably am anti pranks, I think. Yeah, especially like everyday pranks, like not the stuff that requires a lot of like prep or anything, but like one that stands out to me that people have done in the past that always makes me so mad is, you know, like when like somebody picks you up, like they pull up outside your house and you're about to get into the car, like they unlock the car for you, you're about to reach for the door, and then they start driving. And they like drive just a little bit just because they know that you tried to reach for the door. And so then they stop, and then you walk up and you go and reach for the door again, and they drive just a little bit more, and they just keep doing. I'm like,
Shop has been personally victimized by this.
Yeah. I'm like sweating a little bit just even talking about it.
Hey.
I hate that so much. I'm like, just either let me in the car or I will walk the rest of the way. I'm like, I am not going to do this again. I am not reaching for the door again. I can no longer trust you with anything at this point because I trusted you for a ride and now I'm being publicly humiliated. So, so I would say I'm probably anti-pranks. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, that's the kind of thing that's like not funny. You know, like it's only funny if like if the person that you're pranking is also going to find it funny, and like, you know, for a fact that they're going to find it funny. And also, I'm going to amend that. You also have to be willing, like whatever you're doing to someone else, you would have to find it funny if it was being done to you as well.
Yeah,
like you can't do anything. Like you have to be like, yes, this is funny. They're going to find it funny. And also when they retaliate, I'm going to be okay with that. If you're not okay with them retaliating, you can't prank them. That is where the War College just completely failed. Like you have to be okay with them getting back at you and starting off, like they didn't have a reason for this prank, right? Like it wasn't justified at all. So on the note of the War College and Starfleet Academy, which one would you join? And if it's Starfleet Academy, what would your major be? And as a refresher, that would be command, engineering, medical, or science. Shoff, you want to start us off?
Yeah, the War College doesn't have any appeal to me, and I don't necessarily understand why it still exists if Starfleet Academy is trying to rebuild. My guess is that eventually these two will be intermixed, but like to have them be separate, I don't know. It doesn't. The old Starfleet, they weren't separate. It didn't even exist to separately. So like, why would it need to continue? I don't know. I'm sure there's a political reason for it, but I would definitely go with Starfleet Academy because I'll make love, not war. You know what I'm saying? And as far as my division, I would say engineering or science would be what I would choose to go into. I think that I would long for command, but I also don't think I would want that responsibility. Yeah. And medical does not remotely interest me. So I would say, yeah, engineering for sure.
Or operations. Sorry, that's another one that's not on our list here, but that's another
that's right.
For major.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I would still say engineering. Yeah.
That's it, right? That's all they've talked about. But I because they don't say security is a separate major. But I know that was a thing in Old Trek, but they haven't said that yet. So
that's true.
The only ones and the only ones that when we got our Starfleet Academy mailers, we had to take a quiz that said what major would be, and the only ones that they had were it was science, command, engineering, and operations. I think.
Oh, okay.
Were the options. I think so. There were only like 4. There may have been 5. Maybe they had medical too.
I guess, yeah, science or engineering. I don't know which one I would pick over the two, because I kind of always looked at that as they were one and the same. But I guess you're right; they're not.
Well, would you want to like maintain the warp core, or would you want to like get the data that the ship is observing? Because that would be the practical difference, I think. Like, would you want to be in the lab, or would you want to be in engineering?
I think I want to be in the lab. Yeah, so science then. Yeah, thank you for helping me on that one, Captain Linda Pages.
I would choose Starfleet. I don't know any reason I would go to the War College. I don't like the reason why they're pranking. I don't like the Vulcans, the way they're speaking to the cadets. I just don't like these people. I don't like, which I'm sure you're supposed to. That's how we're supposed to feel. But I don't see any reason to choose the War College. And then in Starfleet Academy, I would do the anti-Shoff and I would do medical. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, I majored I was originally going to do physical therapy as my kind of path and my career path. And my major is in kinesiology, which is a study of human movement. I enjoy that to a certain extent, learning about the human body and anatomy. And I would get to be with the Doctor, who is one of my favorite characters of all time.
I didn't know that's what you had studied. My EDS must be so interesting to you.
Yes.
I did not know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. What about Linda?
I would obviously choose Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Oh, it's right here. My Starfleet Academy sweatshirt. Science, of course.
Nice.
I would choose science, but I would choose science because I love science. I'd want to study it, but I would eventually want to be in command. So I don't know if you can double major at Starfleet Academy. That would be maybe my choice if you could. If not, I think I'd still choose science because, as Janeway has proven, you can start on the science track and kind of just be promoted up into captain. But I would eventually want command of my own ship, so I would want to be a captain.
Okay, so we can be study buddies for a little while then.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But I think that tracks with my real life because obviously I'm getting a degree in physics, undergrad in math, undergrad in physics with a minor in math. And then my plan is to get an MBA when I graduate. So I feel like that tracks pretty
well.
well.
Also, you're a very multifaceted, multi-talented person. So I think choosing one discipline or one track or however would not suit you. Like you would need to be all over. You need. I
like to be doing it all and doing everything. Yeah. There's so many things I like and I'm passionate about. Like I don't want to pigeonhole myself into one.
Relate.
Yeah. See, I feel like a lot of Trekkies are like that, which I really love. I love that about our community. I think that's really cool. Okay, let's talk about the alien hybrids that we've been seeing a little bit of. War College looks like maybe Romulans or Vulcans or some hybrid. Laura Thok, my queen. I'm gonna say something that I am gonna make a TikTok about that I tried to make today, and I'm gonna remake it. But I'm seeing a lot of people. She's half Klingon, half Jem'Hadar, of course. I'm seeing a lot of hate for her. People saying that she's too overweight, that she doesn't have the right body type or the right whatever to be a fitness instructor. This is a genuine question. If you're one of those people who feels that way, please, like, I'm not even trying to be rude. I just really want to know, like, do you think you could take her in a fight? Like, I want to know, like, do you think that you could fight her and win? Because I don't think you can. So that really surprised me to see that, because I was like, do you think she couldn't beat your ass? Because I think she could.
Yeah. Well, in the second episode, no, what was it? First or second episode? No, first episode. Yeah. When she's being worked on by Jaden and Sam, once he like fixes the wound and she's like, congratulating him, doesn't she shove him like across the entire room?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like she launches him. She straight up yeets him with a one-handed like shove. Like no one can take Laura Thok. Like she is a force.
So I really like, it's not even meant to like incite things, or like it's not even meant to be like a call out, should be, but it's not. It's just like a genuine question. Like I've been really surprised by this reaction, because my first thought was, if she yelled at me, you better I'm doing whatever the hell she's telling me to do. Like she's telling me to get on the ground, do push-ups, I'm doing push-ups. Like end of story. Like she's terrifying. I can't imagine ever like thinking that she's she just has so much good energy, like commanding energy. She's a great person. She's a great actress for this role. The character is a great fit for the position that she's in. Like everything about it is just, she's definitely a fan favorite, as she should be. But anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there.
She's also got a tenderness that you see in this episode towards the end, when she has kind of a moment with Ake, when they're back in the Chancellor's like quarters or whatever, and she's like, I should have trusted you. I didn't quite see it. You were right. And like she's not always like in your face screaming, and that's great, because like if she was, then she'd be a two-dimensional character, and we wouldn't find her as interesting as she is. So like she has levels. The fact that she is like a thicker woman, who cares? Like who cares? It is crazy to me the amount of trolls coming out of the woodworks with opinions about this. And then you pull up their profile pictures on TikTok, and you see that they themselves are not Adonises, Greek gods with, chiseled physiques. And I'm like, what?
My friend and I's favorite thing to do, and my friends too, is like when people are hitting on me in the comments in like a really, really creepy way. And they're also like 4 times my age. Like we'd love to like click on their profile pictures and like always joke and be like, well, I'm leaving you now because look at my options here. look at this opportunity that I have.
Right. And
Yeah, it is pretty
Yeah.
funny. I did see, and it was mean, but it was, God, was it funny? Someone was just being an asshole in my comments and said something about, I can't remember who it was, but at least one of Starfleet Academy characters like was fat or ugly or whatever. And so someone zoomed in and screenshotted their profile picture and then responded and said, "Yeah, you're gonna want to sit out conversations about appearance." And
And it's
that was
like,
the
we would
funniest thing.
never, yeah, like we would never call them out on that without them opening
No,
themselves up for it.
It was
you
just,
know,
and
it's
I was
like,
I can't like that because like I can't. I'm gonna leave it up because it was funny, but I can't. I don't
yeah.
openly support bullying no matter what. But God, was it funny? Like it was hilarious.
As an actor and having been in like community theater for a lot of stuff, I know the mentality of actors and actresses. Like we can kind of be, at least I can speak for myself, like we like wearing other skins because we don't feel so comfortable sometimes in our own. And when people come out and they say this kind of terrible stuff about somebody's size or whatever, and we don't like, these people don't know the circumstances of the actor or actress that they're talking about. Like, who knows what medical things they might have going on that could have caused this. Sometimes medications cause weight gain. I know that personally.
Yeah.
There are things that happen. Like we are, as a people, cannot be doing this. It is crazy. And these actors and actresses are people too. They have feelings. This is like,
it's so like
it's terrible.
I've just seen them get slammed for everything, for being gay, for being, for not fitting this like ideal of whatever person is writing this hate comment. I also do want to point out too, people are been really quick to judge with the cadets and the officers in Starfleet Academy of like, oh, they're not the best of the best. They're not the most physically fit in the universe. First of all of the actors have done what they needed to do in the episodes. So first and foremost, like clearly the actors and the characters meet the requirements for Starfleet Academy, whatever is required of them. Second of all, you cannot tell what someone is physically capable of based off their appearance. I look like I could do all that fine, right? Like I probably, there's a lot that they did in that third episode that I was like, I can feel my joints dislocating watching them do that. Like climbing that rope, are you kidding me? I could not do that. Like that's just not a thing that I could reasonably do. Like that's, I just I definitely couldn't get that far up on it. So you just never know what someone's like physical capabilities are, like, by looking at them like that. That's just not a fair assessment. So in any event, alien hybrids. Also, a lot of the aliens look different than, first of all, okay, it makes sense to have alien hybrids. I feel like we haven't had enough of that in Star Trek. So I'm glad that they're bringing that in. I said this months ago in a TikTok, but like it makes so much more sense that we'd have more hybrids than like, this is a terrible way to put this, but like pure breeds. I know it's a terrible word to use, but of aliens. Like it makes way more sense that you'd be like, yeah, I'm a fourth Vulcan on my dad's side, like an eighth Klingon on my mom's or whatever, because like that's how we talk about nationality today, right? Like
Yeah, true.
you say I'm half Irish, I'm half Italian, I'm half whatever. It's very rare to hear someone, I mean it happens, but it's it's very rare to be like, I'm 100% this and only this and absolutely nothing else. Like you're gonna have a little bit of a lot of different things in your genetic testings.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Also, some of the characteristics are different, which again I think is realistic. Like they won't be exactly the same as they were 1,000 years ago. Like these species are going to evolve a little bit. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I have thoughts, but I don't want to go first. Vactor, you go first.
Yeah, I also agree. It makes them more relatable to our current everyday life that we live on Earth, seeing the hybridization of these different aliens. Even the captain being half Lanthanite. I don't know if they ever say what her other half is.
I'm guessing human because she looks human.
I think it puts it in, like I said, just relatability aspect. It puts it in line with what we're seeing and experiencing in our daily lives. So yeah, I wonder why it took so long for them to put it into Trek, to integrate.
Yeah. I'm kind of two camps on this. So on the one side, which is like the side of like integration and diversity and, embracing the diversity that comes with the hybridization, I think it makes perfect sense. And in a society, especially this far into the future, we should have plenty of hybrids. There's been so much time that has elapsed since the events of the 24th century that we're most familiar with, where a majority of the Trek shows were sort of like positioned. So it makes perfect sense that there's plenty of different hybrids out there. But there also is a part of me that kind of misses the distinction that you would get from having pure Klingons and pure Romulans and pure Vulcans and pure Ferengi, or, you know, whatever. Like, you could expect a certain, not just a certain look, but, and it's less about the look. It's more about the characteristics of like the personality of the race that came along with it.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, the War College has, I'm not even sure if they are Vulcan or Romulan or a hybrid of both. It's really hard to tell, but if they are Vulcan, they're not acting like Vulcans. No. And if they're Romulan, that makes more sense, but they also, only one of them looks like they have like the Romulan ridges that are kind of synonymous with what was like the TNG Romulans, right? You know, like, so it's just a little, I hate to say it, but the hybridization almost waters down the defining characteristics of these alien species as we know them, and it kind of makes them all the same, like, which to me is less interesting, because part of what makes the Klingons so interesting is that they're a warrior race, and when you take that away from them, that part of me, I don't know. It's a weird place for me to be, because it's certainly not a very much an embracing of diversity, but I'm also just looking at it from the standpoint of storytelling. These alien races also represented something anecdotally or allegorically to our modern day society. And that's why they exist, because they're foils to something that we need to know. So like, if everything gets mixed, then we're sort of muddying the waters and making our message murkier, if that makes sense. So I think that's where I'm at. It's a little, I'm not 100% on board with it, but I'm also okay with it too. It's weird. Okay. It's a weird place to be.
I hear you. I do want to point out, or maybe acknowledge the fact that like, we have seen alien races in Star Trek progress. And I think Klingons are a great example of that. Like, in the original series, they were the bad guys 100%. By the next generation, we had a Klingon in Starfleet. They'd obviously mellowed out a little bit at that point. Their values were still the same, but they expressed them, like, how they were placing them was different. What they were doing with their values was different. And now we have Jaden, who wants to go into medicine and not be a warrior. And so I think I like that progression a lot. I like that we get to see that evolution of these alien species that we've been following for so long. So I really do like this. I think, it is definitely different than what we've had, and the distinct characteristics of all the species.
My worry is that the Jaden thing is played for novelty. That what could we give the Klingon to do that would be the least Klingon thing to do? And like, so they get, let's make them put them in medical. So like, but it's just, the novelty of it is what makes it interesting. Like,
I don't think it's the least Klingon thing.
What's that?
I don't think it's the least Klingon thing for him to do. I think it's a different expression of the same Klingon values. If you think of Klingon, like, everything they do is for honor.
Yeah,
what's the most honorable thing to do? What's more honorable than saving somebody's life or healing them? Making them better. I don't think there's a more honorable pursuit than that. And now there's a lot of different ways to pursue that, but medicine is definitely one of them. So I actually think that he is definitely a Klingon at heart. I think he's definitely like biologically inclined to be honorable and to have a duty and a purpose, but he just doesn't want to do it in a violent way.
Right. What I mean though is if Jaden was not a Klingon and just a human character, and we were seeing his college path unfold of choosing the medical division, like, that wouldn't, on its own, it's not interesting. Like, because a human choosing medical, like, we've seen plenty of humans in medical, like most of the medical division that we've seen are human characters. So like, the novelty of it is the fact that he's Klingon. And so like, and that's why it's like, I'm like, they just chose this because it's more interesting. It's a more interesting story to tell.
But I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I think that they are cognizant of that. The writers and the creators specifically, I think they did choose it for the novelty of it. Now we're going to see as this progresses, as the season and as the series progresses, how are they going to use that? Because if they don't tell an interesting story there, then it was like, okay, that is a bad, yes. Versus, let's say by the end of this show, they've told, I've heard the next episode is his we are focusing on him.
Okay, I've been avoiding all previews. Yeah, okay, cool.
But if, let's say by the end of our time with Starfleet Academy, we're like, oh man, they told so many great stories because of that novelty of we hadn't seen a Klingon choose that path before, then I will say, okay, yes, that was a good use of novelty because we hadn't seen it before and we got all these great stories out of it. So I I will be interested to see how they progress with that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer for the 4th episode definitely does look interesting, and it's definitely a Jaden episode, which I'm really excited about.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I won't say anything more because I know you avoid the previews, and we'll talk about it next week.
Yes.
Okay, Chancellor Ake, barefoot the entire episode. I'm going to be so honest. I know why she's barefoot. I love her for it. Feet gross me out.
Oh, so she's doing it as a power play?
This is a thing I could never do. This is someone I could never be. I must have shoes on. That's just not in any way, shape, or form negotiable. So, at all.
What about like sandals, like flip-flops?
That's okay. That's okay sometimes.
Factors like absolutely
I like to have my feet covered. However, I grew up in South Florida. I still live in Florida. So, there's a lot of beach and pool, or like if it's a really warm day. I'm never just going to run errands in flip-flops unless I got my nails done earlier that day. I'm getting my nails done. I will wear flip-flops. And then, whatever. If it's like a beachy restaurant, like on the beach, then like nice sandals are okay. So like sometimes, but in general, I like to put them away. They don't need to be out and about in the world. No. It's just not my thing.
Like I said, I
For your eyes only.
I rewatched that first episode where the first time you see her with her feet out, and the War College guy was like, specifically, it's against regulation. Like, that's me and Linda. Like, hey, put those things away. That is how I feel 100%, and how I was feeling in that moment.
I hate.
She dressed him up though this episode. They had like a little frilly thing on him, or
I hate to say it
something.
Because I've been defending her so hard for everyone who's like, she can't sit in a chair, right? And she's so disrespectful. I will say, I don't feel like it's a disrespect thing, because she is half Lanthanite, and that's just part of what she is, how she operates. So I don't think it's intended as a disrespect thing. I also think she's just been around long enough and has just earned her position where she's just not as concerned with that kind of thing. She's kind of like, well, what are you gonna do about it? Like, nothing. So I don't think that it's intended in a disrespectful way. No one would get upset at, like, no one was mad at War for wearing his chainmail over his Starfleet uniform. So I feel like this is similar to that, where it's like, just who she is, just things she's gonna do. But that being said, now if you're asking, like, would you also tell her to put shoes on? Unfortunately, probably. If I were the War College Chancellor, I might also say the same thing. But
I don't have an issue with it. I'm not, and I don't even have a foot fetish. I just don't have an issue with it.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, feet do nothing for me. I don't understand it. It's not in my search history. I guarantee you.
You're defending it a little too hard there. I got it. Like, you're working really hard to convince us that you don't have a foot fetish.
Don't look at my search history, but no, you're not going to find it there. Hold on, give me just a moment.
Okay, but on the subject of things that have, like, pissed people off about Starfleet Academy, we have a couple, our first official couple in Starfleet Academy.
Yeah,
Laura Thok and Jet Reno. I personally love it. I think they're very cute. I also just want to say something here too, and again, I'll probably make a TikTok about this, but all the criticism of Star Trek being too woke, modern day Trek, I want to point out that it's always been progressive for its time. So if you watched the original series in the 2000s or in 2010s and the 20s, and you're like, well, new Trek is too woke, you have to keep in mind that the original series was just as woke for its time. And it has still aged well, I think. Is it perfect? No, of course not. It was made in the 60s. But I don't think people have any concept of just how progressive and Star Trek was, and how much it really had an impact on society, each iteration, and kind of each era of Trek. So when people make comments like, what's being shoved down our throats now, it's just the things that make you uncomfortable, that you don't like now, that are being represented in Star Trek. And that's absolutely no different than it was in the 60s. It's just, you're the prejudiced one now. So now you feel like it's targeting you and being shoved down your throat, when in reality it's just a couple existing. I mean, and they're not even shoving it down throats. Like, there's no episode about, like, the difficulties of being an LGBTQ couple. There's no emphasis on the fact that they're both women. There's no, like, they're just a couple. All they did was have a conversation about dinner that night, and they just introduced the fact that they were a couple. If that if one of them were a man, no one would be talking about it. So
Yeah.
if you do feel that way, I would encourage you to just maybe, look into truly, like, if they were a straight couple, if it would still bother you, then you just don't like romance in your Trek. And I feel like that's that's fine. I think that being upset because they're two women and being upset enough to leave hate comments and crap like that I think you should work on that a little bit.
It's also it's lowest hanging fruit for trolls these days to talk about Star Trek not being woke, or I'm sorry, being too woke. I had one person I was talking with privately, and we were talking about the whole wokeness aspect, and she was saying, she's like, I don't think it's woke enough. And I was like, how could it be more woke? And I thought to myself, and we were talking about it, and she brought up a great point, and it made me think, like, back like during like the TOS era, the stuff that they were doing that was progressive by our standards now, you would be like, this is not a big deal. Like Kirk kissed Uhura like on the bridge, right? Like there was an interracial kiss on TV and it blew people's minds. And nowadays you'd be like, okay, so what? Like that's not a big thing. But also nowadays, same-sex relationships, not a big deal. Like non-binary person, not a big deal. I mean, yes, to some people it's a big deal, but only to a very specific demographic of people is it a big deal. For like the actual like society as a whole, like these are normal occurrences that you would see on a daily basis. So like, is it really all that woke to begin with? Like, I think Star Trek is really at this point, they're just maintaining. They're at a standard of this is what you see out in the world now. We should demonstrate that on our screens. Like, and I think like, where do you go from here? How do you make it more woke than where society is at? I'm not really sure, but I think that we're definitely at the very least matching what should be societally normal.
Yeah.
So like
it's making a statement. It's like this thing should be normal, and at this point in the future, it will be. And that's
like,
what Trek has always done. I just think it's my go-to response when someone says something like this on my page is like, okay, well, now I know that all you watched Star Trek for was the green girl in the bikini and you just didn't pay attention to the plot.
Well, and it's like,
it's true.
We're talking about the 30s century here. Let's remind ourselves of this.
Give a friend, like when people are like, oh, but you wouldn't wear glasses, but everyone would be this size, but you wouldn't have these problems, but everything would be perfect, and like we wouldn't have any of these defects. I would like to remind you that when Gene Roddenberry was asked why Picard was bald, and they were like, wouldn't they fix baldness by this point in the future? He said, by that point in the future, nobody would care.
Yeah.
Nobody would care at that point in the future because they'd be worried about themselves. Nobody would care. It wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be an issue. That's I would rather see Trek where those things are just non-issues and accommodated as opposed to fixed. I'd rather see a future for humanity where our differences are celebrated, or just not even necessarily celebrated, just there. Like we're not all copycats of one another, where there's not imperfections that we fix, but we just accommodate. Like,
yeah,
we're just not a big deal. I mean, that to me is a much better future than, like, not that there aren't problems to be solved, or that we wouldn't develop technology for people to have the choice, but where it's not an automatic, like we're just going to wipe out all of this,
Yeah.
Like it's just accommodated. It's just not a big deal anymore.
Well, like even nowadays, we have Apple Music, we've got Spotify. We could access any song that we wanted to on our phones pretty much and play it right then and there. Yeah. But there are still plenty of people who prefer retro technology in the form of vinyl, which requires them to physically buy a record, which is a very easily damaged thing, and play it. And you're only getting like 4 or 5 songs per side on these things. So you're not getting access to thousands of songs. You're getting access to maybe 10 songs on a record, but you're choosing that method and that medium because that's just what you like that's your thing. So we are already embracing retro technology nowadays. So why wouldn't that continue in the future, where we would have the option to have perfect vision, but maybe we just like the retro look of wearing glasses? It's like when I used to sell glasses, I was an optician for like 5 years. We used to refer to it just as facial jewelry. That's what it was. It was like, it was an accessory for your face, and it could complement the outfit you were wearing. Like you could get multiple frames. We were trying to sell, like we were, obviously like trying to be salespeople. So like get as many frames as you possibly can. And whenever somebody would come in and they were clearly fashion focused, we were like trying to sell to the idea that you're matching a look to, right? Like, so like the idea of glasses, you know, being an issue and for viewers is just ridiculous to me, because we already have LASIK, but we still choose glasses. You know, like we already have the technology that doesn't require glasses, but plenty of us still choose to do it. So
I made
it's
that
like
exact point. Like I don't really need to wear glasses. My vision's fine. I wear them because they're cute. I could probably see a little bit better with them. So like, you know, we were talking about the Starfleet Academy majors that we would choose. And I was thinking about the other day, and I found it interesting that Harry Kim would choose operations over command, because he seemed very command focused for the run of Voyager. Like he wanted to be promoted. He wanted to take command. He wanted to have command of the night shift. His goal was clearly to be a captain one day. So I thought that it was interesting that he wouldn't choose command at the academy. I did, just on the Harry Kim topic, it made me smile. I got a comment the other day that said, I'm studying science, the main reason being Star Trek, specifically Janeway and Harry Kim.
Oh, wow.
And I love that, because I feel like I don't often see people saying that Harry Kim specifically inspired them to pursue science. Like I see people see Star Trek, I see women see Janeway a lot.
Yeah.
That made me really happy, because I love Harry Kim. I think he's severely underrated. We had a lot of character development for Darum and Genesis in this episode. Both of them have very specific relationships with their parents. They clearly both have very rocky relationships with them. We know a little bit more about Darum's than Genesis's. That doesn't sound right. I think that is right. So
that sounds like them in the turbo lift when he was like, I have multiple appendixes, and she's like, appendixes.
Appendixi. My favorite plural forms of words are when you end it with I, like octopi, cacti.
Yeah.
It's much more fun and whimsical.
Yes. I always say the opposite to my wife, and she will get upset. Like I will say, hey, look at those cactuses. She's like, cacti.
Look at those octopuses.
I remember in lower school.
Call back.
I remember in lower school, we always used to fight over if it was deers or deer-eye, because it's just deer, the plural form of deer. And it was like a thing. Anyways, on the subject of parental issues.
Yes.
Ooh.
By the way, Neil deGrasse Tyson said that fishes is a real thing. It's not just fish. Fishes is a thing, because fish refers to...
If you're fishing, like she fishes.
Well, no, but he was saying that like fish refers to a this, and then fishes refers to a this. But I don't remember exactly what... Look it up, folks. Look it up.
I'm Googling it. We need to... Fish versus fishes. Oh, look.
Fishes.
Came right up. Fish is used as both the singular... what the hell did I say? Fish is used as both the singular and plural noun for one or more of the same fish species.
There we go.
Fishes is used to refer to multiple distinct species of fish.
Boom!
Fishes.
See? Look at that.
Look,
class is now in session.
Look at this wonderful chart. That's amazing. It is from Reddit, so who knows? But this is wonderful. Wait, hang on. Can I share my screen with you?
Yes, you should be able to.
This is fantastic. I truly love this. Screen tab.
There we go. Did you know? Fishes.
Nice.
I love the diagram.
Visual.
This is fantastic.
This is like, explain it to me like I'm 3.
Oh God. Okay. So, anyways, back to our Darum and Genesis here.
At the various daddy and parental issues of Genesis and Darum.
What are the ways that you are showing up as a parent, or the ways in which your parents show up for you, and or?
You know, I think that part of their issue with Darum and Genesis is that the parents are either negligent or overly expectant. Because clearly Genesis she's like, she always says, it's not just that she wants to be captain, she says, I need to be captain. And that tells me a lot. And that there's this requirement in her family to excel and to be promoted. And that's the only way she's deemed as valuable in that family. And I think what I try to stress with my girls is mine are 3 and 5. So they're pretty young at this point, but what I can for them is to encourage them in the ways that they are naturally inclined. So like Emily, my oldest, she is the artist. She's the dreamer, and she's the creative one. She's always in her imagination. And so I encourage her to do that. And both myself and their mom, we give them activities that are specific to the things that they like. And so one of the ways that maybe I would say that my parents weren't always the greatest is they didn't always necessarily like let me lean into my gifts. And so I think one of the ways that I show up as a parent is I make sure to lean into my kids' gifts or let them lean into their gifts. My youngest, Sage, she's the social butterfly. She's like the mayor. We were in the elevator the other day, and there was somebody who was coming down from the third floor. I'm on the second floor, and then there's the first floor, and then there's the garage in our apartment complex. So, which is awesome to have the garage like right underneath our units. So we got in at the second floor. There was already somebody in the elevator, and of course, Sage, my youngest, she was like wanted to introduce herself. She's like, "Hi, I'm Sage. I'm free." So she was letting her know her age. She talked about her sister, and she was just chatting, just the whole time. We get down to the garage. We go our way. The woman goes a different way. We say goodbye. Sage walks a few steps, then turns around and yells at the top of her lungs, "Have a good weekend." And by the way, this was on Monday morning. So it was just so adorable. So like the way to lean in for her, like lean into her gifts, is just to encourage her in those social scenarios. Like she's going to be one of those people that can talk to anybody and really make a difference in ways that like an introvert like myself cannot. I think like as parents, we just need to recognize the gifts our children are born with and let them fly, let them soar. So that's what I would say. That's my answer.
That was a really beautiful thing to say.
Thank you.
I think for me, I'm same as Shoff. I have a young son right now, so he doesn't have, he has much more developing to do. He's not the man he's going to be, but I think
he's got so much Riz already though. It's crazy.
I think I can take something from my parents where they took an interest in my interests. So they would watch movies with me. My mom in particular once she saw that I was into comic books and superheroes, then I noticed she started wearing Superman shirts and Batman stuff and my mom made this background for me. Like she'll send me things that are superhero related, and she'll send me care packages, and the package will be wrapped in Star Wars or wrapped in superheroes. So taking an interest in things that I like, and that makes me feel like she's trying to be included or she's trying to be involved. I want to kind of be there for my son once he has, like right now, his interests are Blippy, Bluey, those type of like the kid shows. He's not going to
other
be
B words.
He's not going to be into that as he gets older. So once he shows his like true, likes and dislikes, I think I'm going to try to be there for him and take an interest in those things as well.
That's also a really beautiful answer. You guys are making me cry. I'm not a parent yet, but my parents have shown up for me in just every possible way. Every interest that I've had, everything I've taken on, they really have just always wanted what's best for me and done absolutely everything that they can for me. The way I grew up is not how either of them grew up. They worked so hard in order to provide a life that just went above and beyond for me. They've also always encouraged me to be myself, not passively, but actively. When it was theater, they were front row at everything that I did. When I write a song, when I record a song, when I send it to them, my mom comes with me to the studio a lot. My dad will send me songs and artists that he thinks I should listen to, that he thinks, songs he thinks I should do covers of, that he thinks, I would sound good in my voice, or things he thinks I should take inspiration from, and ideas. They're very different people, and their support looks very different, but with them together, it's just like I've covered all of the bases. My mom definitely handles, she's definitely more on the emotional side in terms of like, that's like her thing. Like you both have met her, like she's very, that's just who she is as a person. She gets very, very excited about things. She feels things really deeply. She's the first person you want to call when you have good news or bad news, because that's her thing. Like she deals with emotions really well and helps other people deal with theirs. My dad is very much like, he'll send me things that he knows I'll think that I'm interested in. He sends me a dad joke or like a science meme or a Star Trek meme every day. He'll send me random tweets that he finds that he thinks I like. Sometimes he'll just send me like the Spock, like the Vulcan salute if he's thinking of me.
That's sweet.
We really bonded over science fiction and Star Trek, which is part of the reason that I love it so much, is because it reminds me of watching it with my dad as a kid. So they both They come with me to cons, which truly is like the most visual measure of their love for me, because neither of them are convention people. Like, my dad's a nerd, and I think maybe he went to a few cons when he was younger. Neither of them, like, neither of them would do that of their own volition. Like, they're just not con people. So the fact that they come for me just to watch me meet my childhood heroes, just to be there for that moment, because it means so much to me and therefore means so much to them, is like, that's just that means a lot to me. So
Nice.
yeah, I love you, Mom and Dad.
I will say I've had the unique pleasure of, obviously I know the Admiral and the Fleet Admiral are amazing people, and I can tell, just incredible parents, and have done such an amazing job of raising their daughter, you, Captain Linda. But also over on Vactor's side of the aisle, you've got some incredible parents too, and they are so supportive. And I often refer to his mom as our mom, our dad in our conversations, because I'm always looking to be adopted by some great parents. So, and I feel like whether it's Vactor's parents or Linda's parents, I have been co-adopted in some great ways, and I'm grateful to have that in my world too.
Nice.
My parents have always kind of like adopted my friends as well. Like, they've always been there for them. I had a few friends throughout the years who felt like they couldn't go to their parents with things, or were for whatever reason the relationship was strained or whatever it was, and they always knew that they could come to my parents. And even now, like, when I bring friends home, like Emma, my dad calls Emma evil daughter. My dad calls Shia Frenchie. Like, she's Swiss, not French. It's like a whole thing. They have a whole thing going, but like, they feel at home when they're with my parents. And that's another thing that I really has always made me really happy, is that I know I can bring anyone home and they'll just kind of be, they're part of the Stare Needy family now. You've been accepted into the folds. Like, yeah, we're Italian, so we'll give you a cannoli at the door. Yeah, then you have to learn the word aspetta, because we all will start like yelling eventually. Not really yelling at each other. We're just Italian, and we're Sicilian, and we talk loud. So aspetta.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
I was gonna ask, what does it mean?
It means
Does it mean
like,
more cannoli?
No, it means
aspetta.
It means like to wait. But
Okay.
aspetta. Io parlo, aspetta. Io parlo, not io parlo.
Love it. I love it.
What a great episode, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We are loving Starfleet Academy so far. I can't wait to see more. Haters be damned. Welcome to Starfleet Academy. We can't wait to see you in the next episode. And do you guys want to do it with me? Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready? Mwah. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.